Welcome to Season 1 of Through Black Eyes Unfiltered from MR2D Media. I am your moderator, Tomeka Napper, along with our podcast stars, experts, and brothers, Dr. Marvin Dunn and Raymond Dunn Sr.
I'm Dr. Marvin Dunn, a retired professor of psychology from Florida International University and author of several books on Black Florida and Black Miami history.
And I'm Dr. Raymond Dunn. For 25 years, I served as a dean of students for two community colleges. I'm a professor currently at Broward College. I'm also the author of a children's storybook, The Little Scrub Christmas Tree.
And we are the Dunn Brothers. The goal of this podcast is to have an unfiltered conversation with our listeners about Southern Black history, Florida's Black history in particular, through our eyes, to remind listeners young and old that the events of the past are still happening today.
We believe through this podcast, our expert knowledge, resources, and real-life experiences as siblings, activists, educators, historians, and more will educate and guide the next generation to continue the path of healing and change in the Black community.
That's right, Dr. Marvin and Dr. Raymond Dunn. Never forget history. Coming up on this season of Through Black Eyes Unfiltered, Dr. Raymond, please share with our listeners some episodes to come.
Episode 1 will be an introductory look into who we are as the Dunn Brothers, the historical significance of Through Black Eyes in Florida and today's political climate. Additionally, why we wanted to do this podcast.
We were a migrant family. We went up on the migrant season each summer. Our parents would take us at the end of the school year in June. Mm-hmm. We would travel on US 1, there was no interstate back in those days.
Right.
From Miami to Long Island, New York.
We decided to do a podcast unfiltered because the story needs to be told. There's history and there's his history. Mm-hmm. And we need to get history straight. And we need to talk about how things that have happened in the past are relevant to things that are happening now. And so we want to go back and share some of the things that's happened over Florida's history and, quite frankly, beyond Florida, and how those things might relate to what we're seeing in our communities today.
And why a lot of those things have been covered up. Black history, Florida Black history in particular, is a violent history. It's a difficult history to confront. And for that reason, a lot of the things have been whitewashed, covered over, reinterpreted, and I guess our view is that these stories need to be told through Black eyes.
Episode 2 is on Rosewood, where Marvin paints a very vivid picture of the lie, the attacks, and the aftermath of the burning of a very successful Black town that currently has no Black residents.
There was, I wouldn't say retaliation, but there was resistance during the course of the attack. Mm-hmm. And it was led, frankly, by Black Masons. Most of the Black men in Rosewood were Masons. The main character that they ended up looking for, that they thought was the person who either did this or who knew of the man who did do it, was named Sylvester Carrier. Sylvester Carrier was a World War I veteran. He was a sharpshooter. He knew how to use a weapon, as did a lot of Black men having come out of the war in 1923. And as I said, the Masons were the largest organization in Rosewood. In fact, the largest building in Rosewood was the Masonic Lodge. So as these white folks started trying to track down who did it, and they became concerned that Sylvester Carrier, who was considered to be an uppity nigger, because he didn't work for white folks. Mm-hmm.
I'll also share my story regarding the Tallahassee sit-ins and the civil rights movement in Florida. My friends and classmates Carol Reed and Dolores Davis Hills will join me in giving an accurate account of our sit-in experiences in Tallahassee, something I know more about than my brother Marvin.
No, Raymond, don't start that.
Yes, I do. You know I do. I lived it.
Well, I was there too.
Oh, okay then.
Well, let's see. Episodes 3 and 4 will be on the Miami Riot of 1980 with our guest and good friend, Major Lonnie Lawrence,
who was the public affairs officer for the Dade County police officer at the time when his best friend, Arthur McDuffie, was beaten to death by several white police officers. The riot and others caused Miami to be in the national spotlight concerning race relations and the police.
And as he's going north on Miami Avenue, speeding, he runs a light, and there's a police officer, Sergeant Ira Diggs, who's sitting in his police unit, and he sees McDuffie run this light. McDuffie pops a wheelie, according to Diggs later, gives him the finger, and speeds off. And at northeast, I think 38th Street and Miami Avenue, right before the 112 Expressway, where there's a ramp there, McDuffie stopped and was set upon by at least half a dozen or more police officers. And they started to beat him, yank him.
Episodes 5 and 6 are on the Civil Rights Movement in Florida, where in episode 5 we discuss the legendary civil rights leader Harry T. Moore, who was killed along with his wife in 1951 by the KKK.
Next to Osceola himself, Harry T. Moore was the most courageous man who ever walked in Florida. He was Florida's first civil rights martyr.
We also discussed the Virginia Key Beach, which was Miami's colored beach. And we conclude, as my brother Raymond mentioned, with part 2 of the civil rights movement in Tallahassee and St. Augustine in episode 6.
The man did this, click. Now, I'm in this cell. I can't move. I never knew the barrel of a gun was so large.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Marvin Dunn. Thank you, Dr. Raymond Dunn. I can't wait for our listeners to hear what's in store for each week. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes of Through Black Eyes, an unfiltered discussion about Black Florida, its past, present, and future history through the eyes of legendary brothers, Drs. Marvin Dunn and Raymond Dunn Sr. Listen and subscribe now on Apple Podcasts or at www.tbeunfiltered.com.